Many are stuck in a perpetual state of self-criticism. What if I told you that it's possible to turn that negative voice into a powerful source of encouragement? Imagine transforming self-doubt into unstoppable self-belief. Trust me, I've been there. In this video, I will share how you can move from a place of self-criticism to being your greatest cheerleader with these 3 key insights I had in my own life. I will then share with you a very powerful exercise that you can complete in just 14 days and shift your relationship with you. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Rani, a mental wealth coach and holistic psychiatrist. I help you to overcome stress and burnout, to unlock your exceptional brilliance and become the best version of you. Spoiler alert, what I share may not be easy, but it is simple and the basic fundamental of bringing out the best in you. Here is my first key insight. We're all doing the best we can, given how real our thinking seems to us. I don't know about you, but I go through phases where I genuinely believe that what I'm thinking is the truth, only later on to realize, oopsie, that was not true. Here's the thing, as human beings, we have a range of emotions. We can't say I'll only pick the positive ones and not the negative ones, or the comfortable ones, not the uncomfortable ones. And it seems we have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. In a previous video, I talked about why you don't have to stand guard on the door of your mind to only let in the positive thoughts and not the negative thoughts. If you haven't watched it, check it out. When I'm feeling upset, I am experiencing an upsetting thought. When I'm feeling angry, again, I have an anger thought. Sad thoughts. You name it. And from that place, when we are experiencing that emotion in the moment, we really believe our thinking and everything looks grey and dull. From that place, when we react, we might end up doing something that we regret later on. And then we turn into being our worst critic. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's wrong with me. I shouldn't have done it. Why did I not think about something else? I should have kept my mouth shut. Well, maybe you could have, and maybe you couldn't have. Maybe in that moment, you really experienced the power of thought and you reacted. On hindsight, we know it's not a good idea, and yet in that moment, we could not have helped ourselves. And it's nothing personal. The mind works the same way for everyone. One thing to know is when we have low-level thinking, we have a lot of reactions, and later on, we might regret those reactions or those behavior. When we are entertaining a higher level of thinking, then our actions are a reflection of our thinking. And we can't just say, I'm only going to have high levels of thinking and not entertain any low level thinking. It doesn't work like that. Our state of mind keeps changing. What thoughts enter our mind is not within our control. What is within our control is our choice. Do I want to keep entertaining these thoughts that have just entered my consciousness? And so as we understand how the mind works, we are able to see our innocence in that moment. Rather than blaming ourselves and getting upset and feeling guilty and shameful, we can see that in that moment, we were lost in our thinking. And now that I see it, I can go back, clean up any mess as a result of my action. So that was one of my key insights that helped me be kinder to myself, gentler to myself, and more compassionate to myself. My second key insight is that we all have a psychological immune system. Now you might say, Rani, I don't understand what you're saying. What is a psychological immune system? Let me give this example. We all know that the body has an immune system. When we have a cut, the cut will heal. If we have a deeper cut or a deeper wound, obviously we might need some medical attention. We know that we can't make the healing any faster by poking the wound, saying, hurry up, you're not healing fast enough. We can't do that. We won't do that. We know that the healing will happen in its own time, and all we need to do is look after the immediate environment. All we need to do is change the dressing, and we know that we need to look after the wound. Now, the psychological immune system basically means that our thoughts can seem very intense at times. Sometimes we can really feel psychological pain. We can be emotionally distressed. When we accept that and allow that to pass through us, not trying to fix it by going back to the past and analyzing what happened again and again, trusting that there is a similar psychological immune system that will allow the mind to settle down, that will bring the balance again. We can relax a bit more. We don't need to interfere in nature's design. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that you won't do anything. Do the very best you can. You might want to lie down, you might want to go for a walk, anything that makes sense to you in that moment. That's your wisdom coming through. But you no need to go overboard to try to fix the mind, try to fix your emotional distress, because that can only escalate and that can only allow things to percolate for longer. Our psychological wounds can manifest in the form of physical, mental, or emotional health issues. It also shows up as distressing experiences. But unknown to most of us, our psychological immune system is working in the background. The more we understand the nature of the mind and the nature of all our uncomfortable experiences, they do come and go. There's an intelligence guiding us, supporting us. When we know that, we are able to, in a way, surrender and accept the moment, even the painful experiences. We realize that we don't have to work so hard and beat ourselves up to fix our emotions, to fix our experiences. You see, when we don't do that, we also start to feel more gentle towards ourselves. We can nurture ourselves. We can be kinder to ourselves. When we are kinder to ourselves and engage in self-care, self-compassion, again, we go on from being critical to being a good friend of ours, to being our best friend, if you like. The third insight I had is that what stops us from being harsh to ourselves is at some level we think we are not good enough. I used to be an EFT or emotional freedom techniques trainer. I had done my basic practitioner training, then I did advanced practitioner training, and then I practiced for several years, and then I became a trainer myself. One of the phrases we use is that even though, and you can put any negative statement there, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. That's the crutch of everything. I can't tell you how many people struggle to say that. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. They felt like a fraud when they uttered that line. They could not resonate with that. And the story is, but I can't deeply and completely love myself. I can't do that because, and then there's a story. Oh, because I mess things up. I am useless at doing this. I did this, I didn't do that, I should have done this, I could have done this. All this shame, blame, judgment. Because of all those emotional baggages that we're carrying from the past, we feel we are unable to accept ourselves. We feel that we are unable to love ourselves. And I appreciate that this is something that can seem very hard. It was painful for me too, don't get me wrong. But when I started to do that work of deeply and completely loving and accepting myself, my life got so much easier. I started to notice that the self-criticism, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, what's wrong with you, those kind of stories, those kind of internal dialogues, they started falling away. And don't get me wrong, I am still work in progress. I still go there from time to time. But here's what I'm saying. There is no shortcut. We are all on a journey of self-discovery. And if you are watching this, you too are on a journey of self-discovery. You too realize that you can't carry on the way you had been until now. Something has to change. Otherwise, you keep getting the same results. If you're satisfied with the results, great. If you're not, there's another direction to look at. Which brings me to the final point I want to make. And this is an exercise. If you commit to doing this exercise, I tell you something will shift in you. And this exercise is called the Self-Acknowledgement Exercise. You can do it in 14 days. And if you commit to doing this, you are going to experience a shift in how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself. So you might be thinking, right, Rani, tell me what exercise this is. I'm willing to give this a go. Excellent. It's very, very simple. I want you to take an A4 size book, ideally one with 100 pages, and I want you to start writing anything that you can acknowledge yourself for. And this is how you're going to do it. You take a page, and every single page, you're going to start writing. Every single line you start with, I acknowledge myself for. So for example, I acknowledge myself for waking up on time today. Next line, I acknowledge myself for smiling at a stranger, and then they smile back. I acknowledge myself for making a beautiful, healthy meal for myself and my family today. Can you see? We are not talking about massive things that you need to do or big things you need to do in order to acknowledge yourself. It's about the small, ordinary things we do. And of course, there can be bigger things. I'm not saying you can't. You can say, I acknowledge myself for smashing the presentation. I acknowledge myself for anything that we might have put some effort in, or you're super excited that that happened. Yes, you can do that. Also, as part of this exercise, you can go back to your past and dig up things from the past that you want to acknowledge yourself for, including going through some hardships and coming through the other end. I acknowledge myself for still being here. I acknowledge myself for feeling the fear and doing it anyway. That has to be specific, obviously. I acknowledge myself for feeling the fear of speaking in front of the group, and I did it anyway. So you go back to the past and again, come up with anything that you can acknowledge yourself for. Do this every single day, as much as you can. 5 pages a day, 6 pages a day. You can just brainstorm anything. Any idea pops into your head, write it down. I would say dedicate at least half an hour to this. At least half an hour to this in the morning and half an hour in the night time. Most people give up to 2 hours. You can too if you wanted to. Depends how soon you want to complete this 100-page self-acknowledgement exercise. But if you really commit to doing it and you slow down when you're doing it to really experience the acknowledgement that you're giving yourself, not just writing things for the sake of writing. If you commit to do this and complete the 100 pages, you will find a huge shift in how you see yourself. You end up becoming your biggest fan. If you enjoyed this video, you will love the video with Dr. Pransky, who shared the secret to inner calm. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you for watching.